At my sister's wedding, she ridiculed me in her toast. My sister is a single mom, nobody wants her. The guests laughed, and my mother chimed in, "She's secondhand goods." Suddenly, the groom stood up, took the microphone, and the entire room went silent. Chelsea Parker adjusted her black dress, for the third time, watching wedding guests stream into the country club in Phoenix. Her 7-year-old daughter Madison tugged at her hand, pointing at the ice sculpture near the gift table. The reception hall buzzed with chatter about Bryn's fairy tale wedding to Tyler Morrison, son of the Morrison hotel chain. Chelsea's stomach twisted. She hadn't wanted to come, but refusing would have meant another lecture from their mother about family obligations. The family tension was nothing new. Since Chelsea's divorce 2 years ago, every family gathering had become a minefield of passive-aggressive comments. Bryn, 5 years younger and perpetually perfect, had always been their mother's golden child. Chelsea remembered the phone call last month when Bryn announced her engagement. Their mother, Carol, had immediately launched into how wonderful it was that at least one daughter knew how to keep a man. Chelsea found their assigned table near the back, far from the family section. Madison bounced in her seat, mesmerized by the crystal chandeliers. Tyler's family occupied the front tables, radiating old money confidence. Chelsea noticed how Tyler kept glancing their way during cocktails, his expression unreadable. She'd met him only once before, at the engagement party, where he'd seemed oddly interested in her work as a graphic designer. The ceremony had been beautiful torture. Bryn looked radiant in her $15,000 gown, and their mother sobbed dramatically in the front row. Chelsea bit her tongue when the minister spoke about lifelong commitment, remembering her own shattered marriage. Madison whispered questions about why Daddy wasn't there, forcing Chelsea to explain once again that some grown-ups couldn't live together anymore, even when they tried. Dinner arrived, and with it, the speeches. Tyler's father spoke about family legacy and business mergers, disguised as love stories. Carol dabbed her eyes while praising Bryn's accomplishments and beauty. Then Tyler stood, champagne glass raised, and the room quieted. His voice carried clearly as he thanked everyone for celebrating this special day. Chelsea's fork paused halfway to her mouth when his gaze lingered on her table. Then came the moment Chelsea had dreaded. Bryn rose gracefully, microphone in hand, her smile bright enough to power the chandelier. She began sweetly, thanking guests and family. The tone shifted subtly as she turned toward Chelsea's table. The room's energy changed, like a collective intake of breath before a storm. Chelsea's chest tightened. She knew that look, had seen it countless times growing up. Bryn's voice carried across the silent room like a blade. She spoke about family, about different paths in life, about how some people made better choices than others. The guests' expressions shifted from polite attention to uncomfortable fascination. Chelsea felt heat creep up her neck as Bryn's words grew more pointed. Madison looked confused, tugging at Chelsea's sleeve and asking why everyone was staring at them. The humiliation reached its peak when Bryn raised her glass and declared that her sister was a single mom because nobody wanted secondhand goods. Laughter rippled through sections of the room. Carol's voice cut through the noise, agreeing loudly about damaged goods and poor choices. Chelsea's face burned with shame and rage. Madison's lower lip trembled as other children at nearby tables pointed and whispered. Chelsea's vision blurred with tears of fury. She wanted to disappear, to grab Madison and run from this nightmare. Her hands shook as she reached for her purse, calculating how quickly they could escape. The laughter seemed to echo from every corner, bouncing off the expensive walls like bullets. She'd endured years of subtle digs, but this public execution crossed every line imaginable. Then Tyler stood up. The movement was so sudden, so unexpected, that conversations died mid-sentence. He strode toward the microphone with purpose, his face darker than storm clouds. Bryn's confident smile flickered. Tyler gently but firmly took the microphone from her hands. The room held its breath. Even the catering staff stopped moving. Chelsea found herself frozen, unable to look away. Tyler's voice cut through the silence like steel. He didn't shout, didn't need to. His words carried the weight of absolute authority. He spoke about respect, about the woman who had raised an incredible child alone while building a successful career. His family's money had taught him to recognize real strength, and he saw it every day in single mothers across America, not in people who tore others down. The room transformed. Guests shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact with Bryn and Carol. Tyler continued, his voice gaining intensity. He described visiting Chelsea's design studio last month, seeing her work, understanding her struggles and triumphs. The color drained from Bryn's face as she realized the implications. Tyler knew. He'd always known, and he'd been planning this response. Tyler's revelation hit like a thunderbolt. He announced that he couldn't marry someone who would humiliate family members for entertainment. The gasps were audible. Mrs. Morrison's fan fluttered frantically. Carol's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Bryn reached for Tyler's arm, her perfect composure finally cracking. He stepped back, removing his wedding ring and placing it on the table with ceremonial finality. The wedding imploded in real time. Tyler's groomsmen exchanged meaningful looks, several nodding approvingly. Hotel staff began whispering urgently into radios. Bryn's bridesmaids clustered around her like birds protecting their nest. Carol lunged forward, demanding explanations, threatening lawsuits, creating exactly the scene she'd always accused Chelsea of making. The irony wasn't lost on anyone present. Tyler approached Chelsea's table, his movement causing conversations to halt again. He knelt beside Madison's chair, speaking quietly to the little girl about feeling proud of her mom. Madison giggled, her earlier tears forgotten. Tyler looked at Chelsea with respect that cut through years of family-inflicted wounds. He apologized for the scene, but not for his decision. Some things mattered more than business partnerships. Chelsea found her voice finally. She thanked Tyler, her words simple but carrying depths of gratitude. He smiled, mentioning that he'd actually commissioned her design studio for his new hotel project months ago. He'd seen her character through their business interactions long before meeting Bryn. The investment was significant enough to ensure Madison's college fund and more. The wedding guests began leaving in waves. Some approached Chelsea with apologies and newfound respect. Others slunk away, embarrassed by their earlier laughter. Tyler's family surrounded him with support, his mother clasping Chelsea's hand and expressing admiration for her strength. The Morrison money came with values that Bryn had clearly misunderstood. Bryn sat alone at the head table, her perfect dress now seeming like a costume for a play nobody wanted to watch. Carol paced nearby, alternating between fury and desperation. Wedding vendors dismantled decorations while guests filed out. The fairy tale had become a cautionary tale about respect and consequences. The ice sculpture melted slowly, leaving puddles on the expensive carpet. Chelsea gathered Madison and their belongings, feeling lighter than she had in years. The little girl chattered excitedly about the nice man who said Mommy was awesome. As they walked toward the exit, Chelsea's phone buzzed with messages from relatives who'd witnessed everything secondhand. Word traveled fast in their family. The power dynamic had shifted permanently. Tyler caught up with them at the valet stand. He handed Chelsea a business card, not for the hotel project but personal contact information. He spoke about second chances, about people who deserved better than secondhand treatment. Madison asked if he wanted to see her art sometime. Tyler said he'd be honored. The valet brought Chelsea's modest sedan, and Tyler helped them inside like they were royalty. On the drive home, Madison fell asleep, clutching the small bouquet Tyler had given her from the centerpiece. Chelsea processed the evening's whirlwind. In 2 hours, her life had transformed from humiliation to validation. Tyler had seen her worth when her own family couldn't. The phone rang constantly. Reporters had somehow gotten hold of the story. Social media would explode by morning. The next morning brought unexpected consequences. Tyler's public declaration had gone viral after a guest posted video footage. Comments flooded in supporting his decision and celebrating Chelsea's dignity. Multiple business opportunities appeared overnight. Interview requests arrived from morning shows. The story resonated with millions of single parents who'd faced similar judgment. Bryn called repeatedly, her messages alternating between apology and accusation. Carol sent angry texts about family loyalty and ruined reputations. But Chelsea's phone also rang with opportunities Tyler's contacts had recommended. The hotel project expanded. Madison started asking when they could see the wedding man again. Chelsea realized the best revenge was the life she'd built despite their doubt. 6 months later, Chelsea's design firm had tripled in size. Tyler had become a steady presence in their lives, appreciating both Chelsea's strength and Madison's boundless energy. Bryn had quietly moved abroad, unable to face Phoenix society. Carol still refused to admit fault, but she'd stopped the cutting remarks. Sometimes the most powerful response to cruelty is simply proving them wrong by succeeding wildly. 3 years had passed since that infamous wedding day that changed everything. Chelsea stood in her new office, overlooking downtown Phoenix, watching Madison practice violin through the glass partition. The 9-year-old had inherited her mother's determination and Tyler's gentle patience. Their design studio now occupied an entire floor of Tyler's newest hotel project, with employees who treated Chelsea with the respect she'd always deserved. The morning routine had settled into comfortable rhythm. Tyler arrived at 7:30 sharp, coffee for Chelsea and chocolate milk for Madison. He'd kept his promise about being present without overwhelming their space. Madison called him Uncle Tyler, though their neighbors whispered about wedding plans that never quite materialized. Chelsea preferred their unmarried stability to her sister's dramatic gestures. Madison's room in their new house showcased artwork from trips Tyler sponsored. Hotel projects had taken them to Denver, Seattle, and San Francisco. Each city provided inspiration for Chelsea's designs and adventures for Madison. The little girl spoke casually about room service and marble lobbies, but still preferred peanut butter sandwiches over fancy restaurant meals. Bryn rarely entered conversations anymore. Christmas cards arrived from Barcelona, where she'd opened a small boutique with money from selling wedding gifts. No apologies accompanied the holiday greetings, just scenic photos and updates about European life. Carol forwarded these cards with pointed comments about daughters who abandoned family, conveniently forgetting who'd driven whom away. Carol's relationship with Chelsea remained complicated. Monthly dinners happened now, usually at neutral restaurants where Carol couldn't lecture about life choices. She'd grudgingly admitted Tyler's worth after meeting his family properly. His mother had become an unexpected ally, often joining their outings with stories about raising successful children without tearing others down. The viral wedding video still surfaced occasionally, spawning think pieces about family dynamics and second chances. Chelsea had learned to laugh about internet fame, especially when Madison proudly showed classmates her famous mom. The story had connected them with other single parents facing similar family judgment, creating an informal support network across the country. Tyler's business expansion had exceeded everyone's expectations. The Phoenix Hotel won architectural awards, featuring Chelsea's designs prominently in marketing materials. His grandfather's old money family had initially questioned his public stance at the wedding, but profits spoke louder than social conventions. Success validated his choices in business and personal life equally. Madison's relationship with Tyler deepened naturally over time. He attended school plays, helped with homework, and taught her chess on Sunday afternoons. She'd stopped asking about her biological father after Tyler explained that families come in many shapes. Some people earn their place through actions rather than biology. The concept made perfect sense to her young mind. Chelsea's design portfolio had grown beyond hotels. Restaurants, office buildings, and even a small airport terminal featured her work. The recognition felt sweeter after years of struggling alone. Tyler's initial contract had provided stability, but subsequent success came purely from her talent. She'd proven herself to critics and family members alike through results, not words. Weekends brought simple pleasures. Tyler would arrive with groceries and cook breakfast, while Madison and Chelsea worked on puzzles. No formal commitments bound them, yet their routine felt more solid than many marriages. They discussed future plans without pressure, letting relationship milestones happen naturally, rather than forcing societal expectations. The old family dynamics had shifted permanently. Cousins who'd laughed at the wedding now called Chelsea for business advice. Her success had rewritten their narrative from failure to inspiration. Some relationships had mended, Others had ended completely. Chelsea preferred smaller circles of genuine supporters over large groups of fair-weather relatives. Madison's confidence bloomed in their supportive environment. She volunteered at animal shelters, excelled in school, and never doubted her worth. Chelsea marveled at raising a daughter who expected respect rather than begging for it. Tyler's presence had shown Madison how good men behaved, setting her standards high for future relationships. Business partnerships had evolved into personal friendships across Tyler's network. Chelsea's reputation for honest work and fair dealing had opened doors throughout the hospitality industry. She employed several other single mothers now, offering flexible schedules and understanding that emergencies happen when raising children alone. Success meant lifting others up, not climbing over them. Recent developments brought new challenges. Tyler had been offered positions in New York and Los Angeles, forcing conversations about their undefined future. Madison wanted to stay in Phoenix near friends and school. Chelsea weighed career opportunities against stability, grateful for choices that seemed impossible just years ago. Holiday traditions had replaced old, painful memories. Thanksgiving happened at Tyler's family ranch, where Madison rode horses, and Chelsea designed guest cottages. Christmas morning found them opening presents in matching pajamas. Tyler insisted upon buying. New Year's Eve meant board games and sparkling cider, watching fireworks from their back patio. Looking back, Chelsea realized the wedding disaster had been a blessing disguised as humiliation. Public embarrassment had led to private triumph. Madison would grow up understanding that worth came from character, not circumstances. And sometimes the best revenge was simply living well, proving critics wrong through success rather than arguments. The future stretched ahead, bright with possibilities. 5 years after the wedding, Madison turned 14 with wisdom beyond her years. She'd started a blog about growing up in blended families, helping other kids navigate complicated situations. Tyler had officially adopted her the previous year, making their family complete on paper, as it had been in reality. The ceremony was simple, held in their backyard with close friends and Tyler's supportive parents. Chelsea received an unexpected letter last month, a formal invitation to Bryn's second wedding, this time to a quiet Barcelona bookstore owner named Miguel. The tone was humble, even apologetic, asking forgiveness for past behavior. Chelsea had sent a thoughtful gift and a card wishing them genuine happiness. Some wounds had healed with time and distance. The design firm now employed 23 people, with offices in Phoenix and Denver. Chelsea's team specialized in sustainable hospitality design, winning international awards for environmental innovation. She'd spoken at conferences across the world, sharing how second chances could build first-rate businesses. The girl nobody wanted had become the woman everyone needed. Carol finally admitted her mistakes during Madison's graduation from 8th grade. Watching her granddaughter give a speech about overcoming adversity, she quietly told Chelsea she'd been wrong about everything. The apology couldn't erase years of hurt, but it started healing that had seemed impossible. Even stubborn people could grow when faced with undeniable truth. Tyler proposed on a Tuesday morning over breakfast, claiming big gestures had been ruined for him forever by that wedding. Madison had helped choose the ring, a simple band with a small diamond, nothing flashy. Chelsea said yes immediately, knowing they'd already built the foundation that mattered. Their wedding would be different, small, genuine, focusing on love rather than spectacle. Planning their intimate ceremony brought unexpected joy. Madison served as both maid of honor and Tyler's best woman, insisting on wearing a suit instead of a dress. 20 guests gathered at sunrise on Camelback Mountain, exchanging vows that promised partnership rather than ownership. The reception consisted of breakfast at their favorite diner, surrounded by people who'd earned their places through loyalty. Years later, when young women asked Chelsea about overcoming family judgment, she shared simple truths. Success speaks louder than criticism. Build your own table when others won't make room. Choose people who celebrate your victories rather than highlight your struggles. And remember, the best revenge isn't getting back at those who hurt you. It's building a life so good that their opinions become irrelevant.